It's a very sad time for Kuwait. I offer my condolences to the family of Farah Akbar, the victim we just lost in cold blood. And I offer my condolences to the families of all the victims we have lost throughout 2020 and all the years. Their names will always be remembered. And I offer my condolences to all the women across the world who are combating gender-based violence and have lost their lives. The truth is, the crimes and violence against women has grown sharply, especially during the pandemic. There are probably more cases that go unreported, not just in Kuwait, but across the Gulf region. When it comes to ending violence against women, the issue moves beyond laws. It moves beyond legislation. It is ingrained in the culture, in a culture that does not value the lives of women and girls. It ranks women as subordinates and silences them. It teaches them not to use their voice. And that's why we see that the way that gender-based violence perpetuates, unfortunately, the lack of response from the authorities speak louder than words. We have witnessed a chain of murders and we have seen the lack of action. In the context of Kuwait, the way the cases were handled by the authorities, unfortunately, were not given enough seriousness and attention that they require. Programs to combat gender-based violence are underfunded. The police stations are not equipped to deal with gender-sensitive issues. The recent murder we witnessed came with a new context, however. It was one committed by a stalker and a harasser, as opposed to the more common cases, such as domestic violence. And this unfortunately means that we are no longer safe because harassers aren't held accountable and get away with their actions. Because the culture and media are framed to position women as being guilty for being harassed. The systematic character of gender-based violence is quickly erased when the perpetrator is said to have suffered from mental illness or pathological disorders or drug addiction. And so the cases easily die out. So we need firm action from the authorities. We don't want the government to hold banners that read "End violence against women." We don't want to just simply, have one day specifically or a week, raising awareness on combating violence. What we need is to see action. We need to stop the rapist. We need to stop the cases of rape, and the rapists have to be held accountable. There needs to be prosecution for murder, for the assault. We need the government to protect women, to secure the community, to make the place safe. Unfortunately, women across the world are witnessing that their governments, and this is a global phenomena, governments and authorities across the world are not holding perpetrators accountable. We continue to see murderers and criminals walk away from it. And this signals that our lives are not valued. And I know, for example, in the context of Kuwait, that our constitution is all about gender equality, but we need to see it enforced on the ground. And the lack of action, the lack of accountability when it comes to perpetrators encourages other potential perpetrators to commit more crimes. So I believe I speak for all the women who went out and marched in the street yesterday. We ask the government, what are you trying to tell us? Do you value our lives? All those who have passed, will they be served justice? Do we mean anything to the country? Because the longer that the lack of action takes, the more we will see that we are undervalued. And so, does the government really intend to prevent and address and stop gender-based violence in all its contexts? Are the members of parliament who stood yesterday and members of parliament across the Gulf region and across the world, are they doing it for votes, or do our lives matter? Because if they are willing to commit to programs or slogans or whatever or campaigns related to eliminating violence against women, how far are they willing to go? Because I feel it's time that we enforce these programs